thou, O son of man, I have set thee a watchman unto the house of Israel. Therefore, thou shalt hear the word of my mouth, and warn them from me.
Have no fellowship with the unfruitful works of darkness, but rather expose them.
Coming to you from an undisclosed location in Middle Tennessee and examining current events from a biblical perspective, this is Bible News Radio with your hosts, Randall and Stacy Harp.
All right, hey everybody. Hello people. How you doing everybody? You have no idea I have so much to share with you today. I definitely do. More than you know. So I want to welcome you to today's show. I'm gonna see if I can turn this up. That's as high as it goes. Hopefully you can hear it okay. Hello people. Big Dog 07. Wait a minute. Jeff. Hey, Jeff. How you doing, bud? All right, and then there's Diane and Melanie and Bum Baby, Steven. And Linda. I know you said you were going to be on YouTube, and I'm sure Facebook has somebody coming in eventually. I have to tell you guys, like, some really cool things going on, okay? Well, at least to me anyway. We have a lot of news. If you watched our show yesterday, literally I had like 8 articles of stuff. And then after the show, I got like more. And then I was like, oh my gosh, I don't have enough time. Now I know why Rush Limbaugh goes 3 hours a day. Or at least he used to. I don't know if he still does. But anyway, so we're gonna start today's show. I'm gonna tell you about a contest I'm in that maybe you can help me with, if you want. But then we're going to talk about this first article, which some of you may have already seen. It's called Twitter Bans Misgendering and Deadnaming Transgender People. What the heck does that mean? Well, it means that Twitter is banning people it's banning people who decidedly decide not to be politically correct, but rather sane instead. Go figure. Anyway, we're here on Periscope, which is owned by Twitter. By the way, I also own stock in Twitter. True story. I'll tell you about that too if you want. So, cheers! Please do me a favor, share this out if you don't mind, and we will get this going right now. And of course, as always, I gotta thank my beloved man, Bearface. Randall Pandle Bear. Face.
Yo. My name was in there somewhere, my real name. Anyway.
Yeah, it was. Alright. Alright. Take this out. Alright. Okay. Well, here's a couple things I gotta share with you. I'm gonna take my headset off. Right there. It's off. Okay. Gonna mute that over there. It's a true story? Really? Alright, so we're gonna go ahead and block these. Do me a favor if you're on Periscope. Periscope is like sex bot, repeat bot, troll central, so feel free you guys to just block people if it's a bot. You guys know if it's a bot, you can tell. It's like, it will give you a little devil, emoji, or sometimes it gives you a little heart emoji, depending on what it is, and all that. But anyway, hey, I gotta tell you guys something. Okay, first of all, thank you for tuning into the show, wherever you're at. If you're on YouTube, if you're on Facebook, if you're on Twitter, if you're on Periscope, if you're listening to the audio archive, just, thank you for being part of our show. I really appreciate it. I really do. More than you know. Today I had a very interesting day. Thanks, Mama Gina. Have you ever felt, I'm just being honest, have you ever felt like, everything you do is futile in life? Like, why bother? You get into a place where you're like, why do I even give a care about this, and I mean, honestly, I've had those days, and not a lot actually in recent days, but in the past, I've felt that way because I'm human, right? I'm definitely human. I'm a woman. Hello, I got hormones. Let's just admit it. Okay. Anyway, long story short. So a couple years ago, hey, Angie, I took up pickleball, which is no surprise to you if you've watched the show for any length of time. And Randall, I'm going to tell him about this shirt. And my friend Jay Mackey, first of all, so I took up pickleball, and honestly, you guys, pickleball really changed my life, and it's so cool. I actually got Mia to come over and from Ohio, and before we baptized her, we played pickleball. It was really kind of fun. And anybody who ever comes down here to, Spring Hill where I live, you're more than welcome to play with me because I love the game, and it's a cool game, and the game. The community really changed my life, honestly, here locally. Now, you guys, in many ways, have actually changed my life internationally. But locally, the Spring Hill pickleball community that I hang out with a lot, like 5 days a week most of the time, really has impacted me in a good way. But here's the thing. I also decided to write a book as a result of that called Pickleball Faith, which will be out one of these days. Don't know when, but it will be, I promise. But in the process, I decided to design a t-shirt for our group. And I got to tell you, do you got it yet?
Yeah, I can just bring it off.
You haven't pulled up? Okay, good. So I want to show you the t-shirt that we designed, and I want to tell you what happened as a result of this. And this is super cool. So Jay Mackey, who is my friend who actually designed our Bible News Radio logo, about 2 years ago or a year ago. Was it 2 years? About 2 years ago, I think it was. Jay, I hired Jay to design this logo for my Spring Hill pickleball group. And I just want you guys to see it, okay? Because I think it turned out super great. Unless you're a friend of mine on Facebook, you may or may not have seen this. But I am having t-shirts and coffee cups made of this, and anyway, so I want you to see it just so you can see Jay Mackey's work. Jay is a stellar guy. We talked about this, and
What?
I'm emotional.
Oh.
You don't have to put me in the screen being all emotional, but isn't that great? Look at that. Isn't that awesome? Jay, actually, I told Jay what I wanted. We looked at the city logo where I live. And honestly, he did a bang up job. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean that in a totally good way. And isn't this a great logo? So here's the deal. I bring this up because it was kind of like a love gift to my community. And hi, Mr. Boss. I don't know who you're a boss of, but anyway. So here's the deal, though. I came up with the idea, and I had Jay do it, and it was so cool because I went ahead and presented this to our pickleball community, and I have to tell you, I said to everybody, I said, hey, here's the logo. What do you think? Blah, blah. And you never know what people are going to think. And I've had a couple of people give me some, I don't know, interesting feedback or whatever. You paid how much for that? I could have done it cheaper, that type of comment. But honestly, Jay went from concept to completion. So I'm sharing this for a couple of reasons. Number one, if you guys want a graphic designer who knows what he's doing, and who knows actual marketing, and, who can really, help you get a graphic. I mean, really do a good graphic for you, like, based on what you present to him. Jay is great. His name shows up at the end of the show at jaymackey.com. It's JAYMCKEY. So there's no A in Mackey, but it's McKee, but it's Mackey. jaymackey.com. Go there. Give the guy some love. Hire him if you need a graphic, because without exception, I presented this to my friends today, and everybody loved it, everybody. So it's and I think Jay is commenting on my post. I don't know right now where he's at, but anyway, but here's the deal. I have to tell you that Everybody. I literally have 25 shirts sold before a shirt's been made because of that logo. So I just share that to encourage you, just, in a way, as I get. Yeah, that's right, Gina. That's exactly. It's JAYMCKEY.com, jmackey.com. I share that to encourage you to step out and do something that you want to do, Nobody told me to do this. Nobody paid me to do it. Nobody said, hey, I need a t-shirt for Spring Hill. But I was like, you know what? I want a t-shirt for Spring Hill, and I didn't care. I really didn't care how much it cost, and I honestly didn't care what anybody else thought of the design. But to my joy, overwhelming joy, as you can see, the Lord blessed it. And so, if you guys have if you have a dream, then you should pursue it, because people will bless it if they know where you're at. Now, okay, so that brings me to my second thing. And that is, right now, you guys know Legal Shield. That's my part-time gig here. We are I'm in the midst of a contest with Legal Shield. Okay, here's the short of it. The contest basically is we need to get at least a minimum of 20 people to watch a video about Legal Shield. That's really all it is. It's nothing more, it's nothing less. And currently I'm in 28th place with I don't know, I'll have to tell you, wait, hold on, because the numbers keep getting up. They're getting updated as we speak. And here's the thing. I've been doing a lot of other stuff, and I actually didn't jump into this contest until today, and it actually ends tomorrow. And when I found out how few people were actually entering this contest, oh my gosh, I was like, oh my gosh, I could actually win a prize. So here's the deal. Here's what I would like. If you guys want to support me in winning a prize, because it will actually help my development, and not that this is all about me, but I would like you to know about Legal Shield, and the video that I have to share with you actually is from the two top people in Legal Shield. They're the ones talking in it, and they'll tell you all about it. All you gotta do is click the link and watch it. But currently, as I'm waiting for the app to load, because it takes a minute, okay, here we go. Currently, I have 45% of the 20 that I need to get on the phone call with the top dude. And I've sent out like 14 emails or messages with the video, and 9 people have engaged it. So here's the deal. In order for me to win, to actually win, to get on the call, I need 20 engaged people. That's it, 20 engaged. Right now, I'm in 28th place, which I don't know if you can see very well. I'm in 28th place with 9 people who have engaged. And if I get 20, it looks like if I get 27 people engaged on this right now, and we stay in the same spot that we're in, then I'll get in the top 25 for this contest, and I'll get a copy of Profiles of Success, which happens to be one of the products that you can buy through Legal Shield, but they'll just give it to me if I do that. So here's the thing. I'm just going to be bold. I'm going to ask for you guys, if you're interested in helping me win this contest. I'm not going to try to sell you anything, even though kind of that's the point, really, ultimately. Do you just look at the video and buy what I'm trying to sell you, people? I mean, that's okay. If you want to buy it, that's great. And I would love for you to, but I'm not going to force you. I'm not going to follow up and go, hey, you know what, you person, you went ahead and did this. That's not how I do business. But if you'd like to help me just win this contest, that's all it is, then what I need to be able to send you the link to this video. And then what I need is you to click that link and watch it for like a minute or two, maybe 2 minutes. I mean, you could watch the whole thing. Of course you should, because it's an interesting video. But if you watch a couple minutes until it registers as it counts in my app, then that will go towards me winning this contest. Now, normally I wouldn't do this, but honestly, I decided to ask today, because sometimes, believe it or not, I have a hard time asking for stuff. And so anyway, so if you'd like to help me win this contest, here's what I'm asking. Just send me a message or a tweet or somewhere, get in touch with me today because then I can send you this video link, and then all you gotta do is click it, watch it for a minute or two, and then that counts towards my thing. And then tomorrow I'll let you know how we did, because this thing ends tomorrow. And I really think, honestly, I totally think we can win this and at least get in the top 25. You know, but I need a minimum of 20 to actually get on the call, and that's actually very important. It's kind of like a coaching call with like the top guys in Legal Shield who tell you all their secrets and stuff. I want to get on that. So yeah. So anyway, so there you go. So that was for free. What?
Well, just unlike the rest of this content.
Right. Well, yeah, Gina says sometimes you don't get because you don't ask. Well,
True.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm just going to be honest. Look, this month I haven't sold any Legal Shield or ID Shield at all. And if I don't sell at least one membership, I get knocked out of my mad streak. And I also don't get my bonus. You know what I mean? Oh, you're going audio only? Okay, that's cool. So, yeah, I would actually, to be honest, I'd love to sell at least 5 memberships today. Because then I would get my bonus and, you know, make some money for our show. Because that's really the reason I do it. It's to help fund Bible News Radio, you know. I thought you're something. Anyway, okay, so let's look at the news, okay? We're going to look at some news, and I will go ahead and read this story about Twitter. All right, Twitter bans misgendering and deadnaming transgender people. I guess Bareface is going to throw this up. Throw it up, but don't throw up. That would be gross. All right. Listen to this, you guys. Social media website, Twitter, because you're no one if you're not on Twitter. And if you don't know that song, go over to YouTube and look it up later. Okay, anyway. Social media website, Twitter, has banned the actions of misgendering or deadnaming, and these are in quotes, by the way, transgender users in an effort to stem what it calls anti-trans abuse as part of its updated hateful conduct policy. The platform vows to permanently suspend users who, quote, regularly, unquote, violate the policy. In an effort to fight anti-trans abuse on their platform, Twitter has banned misgendering and deadnaming on their platform, Pink News reports. The act of misgendering refers to calling someone by the pronouns of their biological sex rather than those of the gender they have stated they wish to be, while deadnaming means to call a transgender person who has changed their name by the name that they were given at birth. So, like, for example, when Joshua Alcorn committed suicide, I called him Joshua, even though everybody else, or he wanted to be called Layla, right? And if you look up Layla Alcorn on the internet, you'll find a whole lot of news articles on Layla, but not Joshua, even though Joshua is his real name. He wanted to go by Layla. And he also wanted to be referred to as she. So the very fact that I said Joshua and he would get me banned from Twitter because I dared to call Joshua a boy because of the male anatomy that he has and his original name. So deadnaming means to call a transgender person who has changed their name by the name they were given at birth. That's what that means, Melanie. And let's see. No, our upline, just to answer Melanie's question, she said, I thought your upline was the top of Legal Shield. No, my upline is an executive director, which is the highest you can go as far as the sales thing. We can talk about that later, though. Anyway, Twitter's updated terms of service, which were changed in late October state, quote, we recognize that if people experience abuse on Twitter, it can jeopardize their ability to express themselves. It goes on to state, research has shown that some groups of people are disproportionately targeted with abuse online. This includes women, people of color, lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, intersex, asexual individuals, marginalized, and historically underrepresented communities. I gotta tell you something. The two communities that have abused me on Twitter are the gay community and the transgender community. Just saying. And when I say abuse, I literally mean abuse. I've had people in the LGBT community even set up fake Twitter accounts against me in the past. And actually, they're still alive, by the way. I should say that. Those accounts are still alive. But anyway. So, yeah. Except for Christians. Christians are never harassed on Twitter now, are they? Anyway, going on with the article. For those who identify with multiple underrepresented groups, abuse may be more common, more severe in nature, and have a higher impact on those targeted. The hateful conduct policy further elaborates, quote, "We prohibit targeting individuals with repeated slurs, tropes, or other content that intends to dehumanize, degrade, or reinforce negative or harmful stereotypes about a protected category. This includes targeted misgendering or deadnaming of transgender individuals." Twitter has vowed, yeah, they have, they have vowed to permanently suspend those that regularly violate this hateful conduct policy and those who are engaging primarily in abusive behavior. Users who are also deemed to have shared a violent threat will also be removed from the platform. My question is, and this should be your question, how do you define these things? What exactly is the basis of actual hate, first of all? And what exactly is the basis of an actual threat? Because they deem me saying Joshua Alcorn as opposed to Leela Alcorn as hateful. I say, you ever heard of the emperor has no clothes, where the little kid said, "Hey, the emperor has no clothes." And everybody else is going, "La, la, 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 la." What do you mean? No, you can't say that. It's so obvious. Just saying. And the kid's like, "But, really? He has no clothes on." We are like sheep people. Anyway, it says here, users who are, let's see, blah, blah. Okay. While a new policy was generally celebrated by members of the LGBTQ plus community, the plus being pedophiles and so on, just so you know, some were skeptical, with one user stating, apparently Twitter updated its rules to specify that targeting, deadnaming, and misgendering of trans people isn't allowed, but I'm calling it now that they won't enforce this rule. And this was published over on Breitbart, which, is part of the vast right-wing conspiracy, people. So, there you go. Meanwhile, though, I have to tell you, Twitter's stock has actually increased. It's actually making money. So if you're into investing, you could hit Twitter's, stock, and you'll probably make some money. Just so you know. Bareface, what do you think of this? I mean, seriously. I called you Bareface. Would that be hateful? That's not your real name.
True. But I haven't changed my name. So.
I know you haven't changed it yet, but I keep calling you that name.
Yeah,
I have. The nerve of me to call you a nickname.
There was something in this policy that I wanted to call attention to, and I don't want to just... I should say hi to Steven and Kathy over on Facebook. Hey, you guys. Hi. Okay. Okay, yeah, here it is. I want to share this in Twitter's policy.
Okay.
It shows, well, ask the question, do I need to be the target of this content for it to be a violation of Twitter rules? So some tweets may appear to be hateful when viewed in isolation, but may not be when viewed in the context of a larger conversation. Sounds pretty vague to me, but for example, members of a protected category may refer to each other using terms that are typically considered as slurs. When used consensually, the intent behind these terms is not abusive, but a means to reclaim terms that were historically used to demean individuals. So, i.e., if, someone, if they... a group just like walking down San Francisco, they call each other queer, it's cool. They do on Twitter, it's fine. But, if it comes from, I would never do that. I mean, I don't, and I get what they're after, and cool. I wouldn't say anything with the purpose of demeaning or degrading or defaming or anything like that. Mm-hmm. But, simply for the purpose of telling the truth, if someone is a male using a masculine pronoun, he, or someone is female using a feminine pronoun, she, I mean, I would do that. The purpose wouldn't be to demean or degrade or whatever, dehumanize somehow. It's just recognizing objective truth and not being subject to subjective.
That would be,
subjective. Whatever. Like they say, well, it could be, may be viewed as hateful, it may not be. It may appear, it may not appear. So it's kind of really just amorphous kind of language as to what is what and when.
yeah. What it reminds me of is how do I say this without swearing? I can tell you. Mm-hmm. It'd be like, okay, so the term for a female dog, right?
Yeah.
Okay. That has become very common, unfortunately, for women to call one another.
Yeah.
Right? I'm like, don't be calling. Seriously, if you go to Instagram or other places in social media or whatever, you can actually see people making graphics with hey, bee, and blah, blah, and hey, you're my bee, Like, what the, hello? But then all of a sudden, if, and so it'd be like, hey, we're besties, right? It's not, it's not the word, but you know what I mean? But then if I went ahead and said that, like, back, depending on what mood that person might be in, they could say, well, you're being a hater. How dare you call me that, and get all offended. It's crazy. Yeah, but yet, wait, let me finish my one thought. But remember this, okay, you guys, and think of this in terms of your apologetics, Christian worldview thing. Whoever defines the language wins the argument. And so what the LGBT community has done effectively is they have taken over the language, okay? And so they control the argument because of that. Go.
Well, imagine any area of law with similar language. It may appear to be a moving violation, and it may not. It may or may not be running a red light, depending upon what the time of the day, or what the driver was wearing, or what kind of vehicle, or what kind of shadows were cast by surrounding trees, or just when there's this amorphous language, well, it could or could not be, and we have to, the context will identify may or may not identify the intent. It just, why have anything in writing?
Right.
If you can sounds like you can just make it up and say, I'm offended, you're banned.
Right. All right. Well, speaking of being offended, let's talk about this article about the flying preacher. And actually, I'd like you to play the video if possible, because it might take a minute to get that set up, right?
Okay.
Okay. Do you have the article?
I have the article.
Okay. So let me explain how I found this article yesterday, actually. And I thought it was really interesting because the person that tweeted it out, I actually respect the person that tweeted it out, but they really kind of like, I can't believe that they would do this type of thing. First of all, how many of you think a pastor should do tricks and, stunts and stuff like that in order to capture their congregation's attention? Why not, right? That's what church is all about. Did Paul, when he was speaking, and Peter, when they were all there in the where it was that they spoke, do you think that they did like shows and made points, illustrations? Of course they did. Paul, I think it was Paul, said, was it Paul or Peter? I think it was Paul, right? About the unknown God. It was Paul, right?
Yes. On
Mars Hill, right? He was up there saying, hey, you guys, I see that you have this statue to an unknown God. I'm going to tell you all about it, But so he used props, in other words. That's basically what I'm saying. So this pastor, well-meaning or not, depending on your opinion, this has actually offended people. I actually am not offended by this. I'm humored by it, but I'm not offended by it. And I'll tell you why I'm humored by it. I'm humored by it because the people that get upset about it are a little uptight. It's like, hello, Do you need some, what's the word, Metamucil? Just saying. I mean, it's really not that bad of a thing. You know what I'm saying? Anyway. So yeah, I just said that. Okay, just so you know. Okay, but anyway, so it says here, flying preacher goes viral with dramatic sermon entrance. The Reverend Bartholomew Orr's feat at Brown Missionary Baptist Church was supposed to show the unexpected nature of Christ's prophesied second coming. Okay, so I guess we're going to go ahead and play this. I want you to see it because, to me, it reminded me of the Glory of Christmas and angels coming down at the Crystal Cathedral's Glory of Christmas presentation. But you got to see this. And if you actually listen to this guy's sermon, which was completely biblical and everything that I mean, I didn't hear the whole thing, but I heard about 15 minutes of it. It was biblical what I heard. I don't know why people are getting all upset about it. So let's go ahead and watch this. And then
hopefully this is the right spot, but I just pulled it up from the website.
It starts at the very beginning of the service because it happens at the very beginning. So it'll be a minute or two.
Well, the link at the website took it about 3 minutes in, so.
Oh, it did? Okay.
Yeah. So we'll see.
Okay.
See what happens here.
Modern day Christianity, people. This is how it's done.
Sent me a text message when he was about to arrive in the building. And so until he comes, y'all will be looking at me, and I'm going to be talking and keeping this thing going as we are looking.
He's coming.
He's coming.
He's coming. He's coming again. Jesus Christ is on his way back. We've already read it even in the devotion, that scripture, Revelation chapter 1, verse 7, says that day is going to come when the sky is cracked and Jesus Christ comes again, and every eye will see him when he come again. And so here's our question for you this morning, brothers and sisters. The simple question is this right here. Are you ready? Are you ready for his return? Amen. All right, amen, amen. Are you ready for his return? Brothers and sisters, are you ready today for the return of the Lord Jesus Christ? Because he's on his way back. That is what James was dealing with there. And I appreciate Jerome this morning. I said, Jerome, I'm going to need you this morning.
Okay.
But I appreciate Damon for reading.
So that was it. There were some people who got offended by that. How dare they? How dare he do this trick? The flying preacher. First of all, he wasn't really flying. Okay, I mean, when you fly, you put your arms out. You're like, hey, or if you're Mia, my superhero paramedic friend, you get in a helicopter and you go, that's kind of flying. He actually was just being lowered down on this thing, which honestly, I thought was a good illustration. I mean, seriously. And he was making a point, which is that Jesus is going to come back again. Right? Except I think it'll be a little bit more dramatic than this guy's entrance. But I understand why some people are offended. Some people are upset because how dare you do that? How dare you do that? A preacher shouldn't do that. To which I would say, in the Old Testament book of Ezekiel and other prophets of old, and I'm not calling this guy a prophet because I don't think he even calls himself a prophet. But anyway, the prophets did weird things to announce the coming of Christ and to give judgment to the people of the land. And they did weird things. I think it was Isaiah, if I'm correct, that actually laid naked on his side for a while, like a year or something. I mean, that's kind of dramatic. Wouldn't that be like,
I believe it was Ezekiel.
Could you see it? Was it Ezekiel?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so Ezekiel laid naked on his side, right? And as a sign, God told him to do it, right? So maybe God told this guy to do that. What do you think? I don't know, Randall, what do you think?
Well, the article from the HuffPost says the pastor has gotten some pushback on social media for his dramatic illustration. Some people complained that the stunt was a waste of money.
Oh.
better use of funds would have been having the largest steeple.
Donating it to Bible News Radio, actually, would have been better.
In a 15-block radius, or making sure that the carpet matches or is a complementary color to the pew cushions. A better, a better stewardship of church funds. Would have been to have the right kind of seating in the coffee shop that's in the entryway, or to buy the right kind of coffee that will attract. I think it's. My point is, you can call it a waste of money, but this expensive money, and the pastor wanted to say you didn't have this installed, this lift thing, just for this sermon. It's been used for years for
it looks like it's
church productions, like you said.
Like it looks like a Glory of Christmas type thing, where the angels come flying down and everything.
And they've used it for that, and so he thought it would be, a good, a practical illustration, and
I thought it was.
Yeah, and he used it to preach the gospel and the soon return of Christ.
He actually did. Right,
and to use it again, other than for a Christmas presentation, other than a Christmas play, that's getting more use out of it. That's a better use of stewardship, I think.
Yeah. Well, there's some comments here in Periscope. So Eric Sean says, "Don't trust everyone that calls themselves Christians. Enough with the gimmicks, demagoguery, and hypocrisy," which I agree, and I'm not sure that I would agree I mean, I see why people are saying this is a gimmick, and maybe it is gimmick. But here's the thing.
I don't know don't know the pastor nor the congregation.
I would say, even if it was a gimmick, could not God use a gimmick to save somebody? Couldn't he?
Indeed he can.
I'm
As
not
the Apostle
liberal.
Paul said, some people preach the gospel, out of sincerity, thinking to add to my change, but in this I rejoice, whether in truth or pretense the gospel is preached.
Right. And as far as I know, he was actually preaching the gospel. So.
And that's what just that little clip we saw, I mean, it sounded like it was using scripture and talking about the soon return of Christ. So
I listened to half the message, and it was completely biblical.
Right. So whether or not he was sincere as a gimmick, the gospel was put out there. And if it's a bunch of people are watching the video and hearing the gospel,
right?
Praise God, gimmick or not, I rejoice that the gospel is preached.
So Doug says, I'm trying to get to the comments here. So Doug said on Periscope, interesting how quickly interest in budget by outsiders appears. To which I concur. It always cracks me up, Doug, that especially on Periscope, I get flack from people all the time because I actually have a sponsor and I dare to ask for money for our show. And all of us, and yet I can tell you honestly, I could, if I switched paychecks with most of you, you'd be like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe you make that much." I want my paycheck back. No. Anyway, so Gina says they probably use that for the Easter presentations and such. And then it says, Devin says, people decide within 5 minutes of a sermon if they will listen. He got their attention. Exactly. And if this guy was and maybe he is, I don't know, because I don't follow the guy. But what I watched seemed okay. But the big issue that some other Christian leaders were having, and I'm not nearly like as big of a leader as they are, I'm just me, is that they thought that it was inappropriate. To which I say, well then, if you're going to use that as the label, then I would say, look at the Old Testament and what God did with prophets and what prophets did in order to send his message. I mean, real prophets, not most of the false prophets here on Periscope or other places, right? I mean, you can't use the standard. Like, if you're going to use the standard, you got to use it everywhere, in my opinion. That's all it is. It's just my opinion. But anyway, so let's see if there's any comments here.
Well, the nice thing about standards is that there are so many to choose from.
Yeah, so Steven says on Facebook, to me it was pretty cool. Even the Pharisees asked questions. And Kathy said hi. Okay, I'm saying hi everybody else on Facebook. Thank you for coming in. Okay. All right, so we have other news here too. Let's... Gosh, this show's going by fast. Okay.
That is.
let me pull up the other story from yesterday I wanted to get to, which has to do with, should we do the Google one or we did the New Age one. Let's do the George Soros one. You guys know who George Soros is, right? Now, this is interesting. How many of you believe in the New World Order? George Bush Sr. talked about it way back in the 80s. I think it was the 80s. Maybe it was the 90s. No, I think it was the 80s. Talked about the New World Order. The Bible talks about New World Order. It doesn't use those words though, but it actually talks about how there will be a one world government, which is basically part of the goal of the New World Order. Well, anyway, so there's an article over on Grand something website. Anyway, it's titled "George Soros Touts China as a Leader of the New World Order." Just so you know, in case you were wondering. This person writes, in September, I wrote an article on China's high-tech surveillance system to closely monitor all of their 1.3 billion citizens. Yeah. Along with the most advanced facial recognition software on the planet, China has computers which use the data collected on each person to form algorithms for a grading system. They call this system personal credit. Listen to this. They watch where people go, what they buy, who they befriend. They watch their finances to see if they're responsible with their spending. The government knows that the people are involved with churches. Basically, the Chinese government knows everything there is to know about every person. Once the computers have the desired amount of data and the algorithms reveal a, quote, grade, unquote, for each person, those with higher grades remain safe, and those with low grades are not able to make a move. No, they're not. That says here, Beijing to judge every resident based on behavior by the end of 2020. That's like not even 2 years from now, okay? China's plan to judge each of its 1.3 billion people based on their social behavior is moving a step closer to reality, with Beijing set to adopt a lifelong points program by 2021 that assigns personalized ratings for each resident. The capital city will pool data from several departments to reward and punish some 22 million citizens based on their actions and reputations by the end of 2020, according to a plan posted on the Beijing municipal government's website on Monday. Those with better so-called social credit will get a green channel benefits, while those who violate laws will find life more difficult, which would probably be the Christians. Just saying. The Beijing project will improve blacklist systems so that those deemed untrustworthy will be, quote, unable to move a single step, unquote, according to the government's plan. This person's name, who I can't said, reported on the proposal Tuesday, while the report posted on the municipal government's website is dated July 18th. China has long experimented with systems that grade its citizens, rewarding good behavior with streamlined services while punishing bad actions with restrictions and penalties. Critics say such moves are fraught with risks and could lead to systems that reduce humans to little more than a report card. And you have to understand, China is a communist country, right? You guys know that, right? I know you do, because you're all smart. But Christians in China, the Chinese underground church is like one of the largest in the world, and they are the threat. And one of these days, I hope and pray, and I really do, that the Chinese government leadership, Lord willing, would become Christians and all that. But the curious thing about this to me is that how easily it would be to take that system and put it everywhere else in the world, which I think is ultimately going to happen at some point. But anyway, article goes on to say, ambitious plan. Beijing's efforts represent the most ambitious, yet among those, more than a dozen cities that are moving ahead with similar programs. Hangzhou, what he said, rolled out its personal credit system earlier this year, rewarding pro-social behaviors such as volunteer work and blood donations, while punishing those who violate traffic laws and charge under-the-table fees. By the end of May, people with bad credit in China have been blocked from booking more than 11 million flights and 4 million high-speed train trips, according to the National Development and Reform Reform Commission. According to the Beijing government's plan, different agencies will link databases to get a more detailed picture of every resident's interactions across a swath.
Yes,
Really? Is that the word?
that's the word.
It's my word of the day, people. Of services. The proposal calls for agencies including tourism bodies, business regulators, and transit authorities to work together. The tracking of individual behavior in China has become easier as economic life moves online, with apps such as Tencent's WeChat and Ant Financial's Alipay, a central node for making payments, getting loans, and organizing transport. Accounts are generally linked to mobile phone numbers, which in turn require government IDs. The final version of China's national social credit system remains uncertain, but as rules forcing social networks and internet providers to remove anonymity get increasingly enforced and facial recognition systems become more popular with policing bodies, authorities are likely to find everyone from the internet dissenters to train fare skippers easier to catch and punish than ever before. So I have to say, it goes on to say, did you happen to notice that America is not mentioned as one of the nations which are invited to take part? I found that very telling. And then it talks about the rest of the article. George Soros touts China as leader of the New World Order. Leftist billionaire George Soros, who is a Jew, by the way. And I have to tell you, this guy actually sided with Hitler, in case you didn't know this. There's actually a video of a younger George Soros actually supporting Hitler killing the Jews during that time period, which is crazy. But anyway. He continues to make headlines with his disturbing sentiments regarding a new world order at the Canadian International Council on Monday evening, where he accepted his Globalist of the Year award. Hi, I'm George. I do accept this Globalist of the Year award. Yeah, I do. Anyway. Soros not only defended the formulation of a new world order, but asserted that China should be one of the global leaders. Soros maintains that China has risen rapidly by looking out for its own interests. Duh. Anyway, in his acceptance speech, he adds, they have now got to accept responsibility for world order and the interests of other people as well. Anyway, I'm not going to read the rest, but because I want you to see this other article from Google talking about the whole idea of tracking stuff. Yeah, it's the next one from PJ Media that was right under that one.
Yeah.
So okay. So I try to tell certain friends of mine, there's going to be a new world order. There's like the internet, Facebook, Google, YouTube, Twitter. All these people are tracking you left and right. And we're letting them do it. Hello.
Just a quick statement.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because some people probably think, well, why wouldn't you want to be a globalist? Why wouldn't you want to imagine there's no countries, as John Lennon would sing? Well, that'd be great.
Imagine there's no heaven, you mean?
Well, yeah, but he says imagine there's no countries. That's another lyric in the song. And, instead of nations warring, everybody's one big happy people. And, what could be wrong with that? Well, human nature is wrong with that. And if there are no nations, that there is just united Earth, that means there's one totalitarian government that oversees the entire planet.
Right.
And given human nature and the nature of absolute power, even in a limited context, absolute power in a limited context, as we've seen, well, heck, in Burma, i.e. Myanmar, the Soviet Union, Communist China, etc., etc. We see what happens when a few people have total control over a large amount of people. If there's a one Earth with no countries, that means there's a global government which oversees the affairs of every citizen on planet Earth. Anyway, which leads into the Google article. So
yeah,
cut to you.
Well, and see, that's the thing. I try to tell people, I've been talking about this stuff for a long time, right? And honestly, between us, I didn't want to look at it at first. I was like, no. I didn't want to look at science fiction and UFOs. I didn't want to look at that either. But it's weird because if we really believe the Bible, and I do, I read it every day, at least most of the time. I try to. I read Psalm 65 today. Here's the thing. If we actually believe the Bible, then we already know that Jesus is going to return. We already know there's going to be the Battle of Armageddon. We already know there's going to be a temple in Jerusalem and all these sacrifices, and there's going to be an Antichrist, right? Well, the whole goal of the Antichrist is to replace Jesus, of course, but Jesus is frankly going to kick his butt, just so you know, which is awesome because we're on the right side. Woo-hoo, Jesus, yeah. Anyway, but the problem is, though, trying to wake people up and go, okay, do you get why this is happening? How are they going to do this, right? Seriously, how are they going to do it? Well, if you can track and control people, then there you go. That's if you withhold food from people, they'll pretty much do anything to eat. Right? I mean, let's face it. Most of us don't fast. Why? Because it's uncomfortable. So imagine having a government control your food or what you can eat. Just as an example. You control food and who you give it to, you got control over people. Okay? Anyway, so this article, Google, this is over on PJ Media, also known as Pajamas Media in the past. Anyway, it's titled Google Reveals Plans to Monitor Our Moods, which Facebook, by the way, is already doing. Yep. When you hit happy emoji or sad face or whatever, don't you think they're monitoring your mood? Anyway, our movements and our children's behavior at home. So patents recently issued to Google provide a window into their development activities. While it's no guarantee of a future product, it is sure indication of what's of interest to them. What we've given up in privacy to Google, Facebook, and others thus far is minuscule compared to what is coming if these companies get their way. And don't forget, you guys, Google's motto, or their mantra, is that they want to have the mind of God. These patents tell us that Google is developing smart home products that are capable of eavesdropping on us through our home in order to learn more about us and better target us with advertising. If you have a phone like the one that we're airing this on Periscope, then you're already being eavesdropped on. Just so you know, it goes much further than the current Google Home speaker that's promoted to answer our questions and provide useful information, and the Google-owned Nest thermostat that measures environmental conditions in our home. What the patents describe are sensors and cameras mounted in every room to follow us and analyze what we're doing throughout our home. They describe how the cameras can even recognize the image of a movie star's image on a resident's t-shirt, connect it to this person's browsing history, and send the person an ad for a new movie that the star is in. Aw, wouldn't that be great? You don't even have to Google it or watch an ad. Anyway, one patent number 10,114,351 reads, according to embodiments of this disclosure, a smart home environment may be provided with smart device environment policies that use smart devices to monitor activities within a smart device environment, report on these activities, and or provide smart device control based upon these activities. So clearly they want to monitor us and report back on what we are doing. It goes on to describe an example in the usual patent legalese, but it's worth providing here the exact description for you to see, in particular, the last sentence, okay? So it says here,
Whoops, sorry.
By way of example, the high power processor 20 and the low power processor 22 may detect when a location, example, a house or a room, is occupied, i.e. includes the presence of a human, up to and including whether it is occupied by a specific person or is occupied by a specific number of people, example, relative to one or more thresholds. In one embodiment, this detection can occur, example, by analyzing microphone signals, detecting user movements, example, in front of a device, detecting openings and closings of doors or garage doors, detecting wireless signals, detecting an internet protocol address of a received signal, detecting operation of one or more devices within a time window, or the like. Moreover, the high power processor 20 and the low power processor 22 may include image recognition technology to identify particular occupants or objects. In other words, the goal is to track us throughout the home, observing who is in each room, where we are moving, and what we are doing. What's of note is the patent that was awarded to one of Google's star teams associated with the development of the Nest thermostat, a breakthrough product with a microphone. When Amazon first introduced their Alexa speaker and Google followed with their own speaker, security experts warned that these devices could be turned around to spy on us, and that's exactly what appears to be happening. While there are many good uses for adding sensors for home automation, the danger comes when they are being monitored and used by outside companies with an insatiable desire to know everything about us. And I'm not going to read the rest of the article because we're almost out of time. But I will say another thing that's interesting. I saw this yesterday, actually, and I forgot the name of it. But there's actually also a brand new product. It looks like a Fitbit, but it's not. And Fitbit, just to talk about tracking. Here you go. I'm willingly tracking my steps, and if I put data in this thing every day, all they gotta do is pull this up on me. Oh, she lost 2 pounds this week. Oh, she walked 10,000 steps the other day. Hello. But there is another one of these things, and I forgot the name of it, but it's actually a temperature monitoring system. Did you see this, Randall?
No.
It's actually new technology. They just released it. And apparently what it does is, how many of us are in menopause? Okay, I admit it, just saying. Anyway, so what it does is you wear this thing, I forgot what it's called, but you tap it and it literally will cool your body like 5 degrees because you wear it on a certain spot on your body. Or if you're too hot, if you're too cold, you can up the temperature on it and it will warm your body up. Like, what's the point of that? Get a jacket or take a jacket off. You know what I mean? But I think it has to do, with them really ultimately wanting to control you. And it really goes also to the idea of ultimately transhumanism, which is the mingling of technology with humanity. And why is that this? Why are we talking about this? Because the mingling of technology and humanity, a lot of people believe the biometric chips that they want to put in your hand or your forehead, that's going to be the mark of the beast. And then you won't be able to buy or sell without it. And why? Because they can shut it off, And it's so kind of cool, actually, in my opinion, to see this happening. You're in menopause over there? Okay. What? Oh, yeah, I know. Anyway, so I just thought I'd share that because we could talk about this more. We probably will talk about it more tomorrow just because it's such an interesting topic and people are all freaking out about it. But it's kind of exciting because we're so close. The Lord is coming back. Yeah, he is. And the rapture of the church is going to take place sometime. I believe it. I know some people go, what? You really think that's going to happen? I'm like, yeah, I do actually. Because everything else that God has prophesied and has come to pass, that's going to happen too. Which leads me to thank our sponsor, Ariel. By the way, we do have a Bible study. It's called Satanology. You can go over to BibleNewsRadio.com and download it for the next day or two until December. If you're already on our email list, don't worry. You can still put in your email. I don't think it will let you be on there twice, but I haven't been sending out that much email anyway. But download that. It's from Dr. Fruchtenbaum. It's really a great study. It's free. And also, if you want to get anything else from Ariel.org, you can go ahead and you can use the coupon code Bible News and save 20%. And one of these days, we'll probably have this scrolling at the bottom during the show because it was suggested by somebody. And I thought it was a good idea. But anyway, you guys, most of you know that. The Historical Geographical Study Tour DVD set is what we're talking about right now. And that's like $29 minus 20% is like $23 and change. That's the recommended resource from Ariel this month. So if you haven't gotten yours yet, consider it because it's actually it's a great resource. What if the person doesn't address themselves? I'm not sure. I must have missed part of your question. But anyway, so there is that. And then, what's the other thing? I know I was going to say something else. Wait. Wait, there's more. Actually, Doug Hershey's book, The Christian's Guide, Biblical Guide for Understanding Israel. How much did we make this? $8? No.
9.
Oh, it's still $9. Okay, so $9 if you want to support the show and get this, we'll send it to you. We got a lot of these. Doug was really nice. He gave me a whole box. And the Gospel of the Holocaust in Isaiah 53. This is also a really good book. This is a very interesting book, seriously. So if you, anyway, if you actually want an interesting book, he contrasts the Holocaust with Jesus' sacrifice for us, which is really good. Am I forgetting anything else? I feel like I'm forgetting something. Ah, yes, I am. Haha, I just remembered it. Okay, so are they cracking down on if I call a trans person a dude or a bro, or is it for demeaning comments? Kyle, it's basically has to do with if you call a trans person, like if they're a he, if they were biologically a boy when they were born, or male, and you call them, and now they identify as female, but if you call them male, that's what they're talking about. How dare you use the wrong pronoun? And if they change their name, let's say their name was Joshua and they want to be called Layla instead, and you called them Joshua, then that's called what? Name shaming? Is that what it's called?
Deadnaming.
Deadnaming.
Naming the dead. I don't know.
I don't get it. But anyway. Yeah, we talked about it at the beginning of the show. Also, I want to say thank you again to all of you guys who donate, who are pillars of our community. There's a handful of you that donate every month to us. So thank you. It means so much to me. You have no idea. I really, really love you guys for doing that because it really helps us. And actually, to be honest, with the second job with Legal Shield that I have and then taking care of my dad, it really, really does fill in a gap for us. It really does help us out. So if you want to be a pillar of the community, that just means you've agreed to donate to us every month. And I can actually kind of rely on that to help us, which is really, really good. So you can do that at BibleNewsRadio.com/give. And just, we use PayPal. I have a couple of people that use checks. You can, do an automatic payment through a check if you want. We can even take payments through Facebook now, too, if you want to use that system. Either way, just let us know. I'll gladly take your money. Also, just a reminder, our text message list, if you're not on it yet, please join it, because that's really where I fellowship with everybody. I send out a scripture in the morning, and then like today, I asked you all to do me a favor and to help me with this contest, which I'll repeat in a second. But text the term Bible News to 33222. If you do that, you get on my list, then you're going to hear from me. And I also have contests. I actually got a new book. It's not here. It's downstairs, which I will be doing contests with probably, I'm going to say next week, because this week's almost over. And I haven't booked the guest yet. And I want to get the guy booked before I start sharing his book. So text the term Bible News to 33222. Just text that. You'll be on my list. I'll respond and say, can you please tell me your name? That way I know who you are. And then I'll put your name in after you tell me who it is. Okay? And you can unsubscribe at any time if you want. Just hit stop. In the name of love. No. Anyway. Okay. So if you just came in and you didn't hear at the beginning, I'm kind of in this contest right now. Okay. And the contest is for Legal Shield. We have to get 20 people in our app to watch a video. So what I need you guys to do is contact me if you'd be willing to click a link that I will send you. It's a trackable link, so I know if you watched it. And then if you click the link that I send you and you watch it for a few minutes, I get credit. Then I get to win a prize. And so I'm going to give you the update to where I'm at right now. Okay, so I'm just going to take a second here. I know we're kind of over time, but it takes a minute for this to load because this tracks literally all the Legal Shield representatives in the world. Well, in America and Canada. So I'm waiting for it to load to kind of give you guys an idea of where I'm at. I need 20 to win the phone call, to be on the phone call with this top guy in Legal Shield. And if I can get into the top 25, I actually get actual prize, like a book. It's kind of like a book, which would be super cool, actually, because I love books. And you don't have to buy anything, although I would like you to. But for the purpose of this contest, for me to win it, you don't have to buy anything. So I'm just waiting for it to load. So it's taking a while, but don't worry, it will load eventually. One of these days, it will load. Yeah, it will. So, okay, here we go. It loaded. All right, so let's see where we're at. All right, so here's where we're currently at. I'm at 45% complete. Okay, 45% complete. So I still need those of you who I sent the info to and you didn't click the link yet to do that. This ends tomorrow. Okay, so we got 1 day left. And so here's the thing. I can text you the link in Messenger on Facebook. I can tweet it to you. I can send it to your phone directly, or I can send it to your email. So there's like no, like if you don't want to give me your phone number, but you're in Facebook, I can send it there. I can send it there. So just let me know where you want me to send it. And then all you gotta do is click it and watch it for a minute or two. Longer. Actually, you should watch the whole thing, but you know, for me to get credit, you only need to watch it a short time. All right. So that's it. Randall, do you have anything else you need to add?
No, ma'am.
Nope. Okay. So, and anybody who wants a Spring Hill t-shirt later, when I get that up and going, you know, for everybody, if you want, you'll be able to do that too. But don't forget to support Jay Mackey, JAYMCKEY.com, if you need anything for graphic design. He's awesome. He really is. So check him out. And to remember, be bold, people. Stand up and go with God, because he loves you. And we'll be back tomorrow, if it's his will, which I hope it is. So I'll see you then.